Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Forgotten North Gaming podcast. Full house. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Evening.
Can I just put out here that it doesn't look like that on the front screen at the current this current time of year. It is bloody hot up here.
It's no longer the frozen wasteland of the north.
We wish it was.
We do wish it was, yeah. We don't do well in heat up here in the north. So, I think, guys, it's fair to say that the last week to 10 days has been a dramatic one in the world of Warhammer.
Probably more bigger than launch day.
Arguably, in many respects. Is that what we were going to say there, Seb? Sorry?
I might have got a little bit excited over the last 10 days.
I agree with you guys. Like, I agree, though. I think with the changes to, for a start, every single army that's officially out is now actually out.
Yes.
Or announced is now out. Everything's available. Everything's playable, which has just got to be good for the game anyway. Yeah.
Yep, we have all the armies out. We have the FAQ we wanted, and we have a match play document that looks like it might change the game in some way, shape, or form. We have dubbed it the Wednesday That Changed Warhammer.
Honestly, like what a statement! When you messaged that into the group, I thought that is so true.
It's not wrong.
I think honestly, like I think you're right. I think after all these changes, we now move into edition 1.5 effectively.
Yeah, I would agree. It is a new edition without having to rebuy the rule books.
Yeah. And it's probably going to take me another 18 months to learn how to play properly.
By then, we will be on to version 2.
It's just more paper to carry around when I go to events, so I've got any idea what's going on.
I mean, this is why we shouldn't have had a rule book for this game. It should have been a living rule book online, because it has made my big pile of blue pretty much out of date now and useless.
I mean, not all of it, but I do get that feeling from people, to be fair. But
unless you're going to start cutting it out, printing bits off, cut it in, stick it in your rule book, and have like a massive.
I wish I still had my 6th edition rulebook to show you that all the glued in errata. And all the highlighting as well. It was like not just glued in errata, there was highlighter all over it.
I just think in mind, like it's so like, from the wilderness that we've came from, and I know we've said it on multiple occasions on this channel, but it is so refreshing and so positive to have the FAQs and have a game that's fully supported and is genuinely developing. Like some if you want to be negative, you can argue, well, why is a game that's only been out like 18 months need a massive FAQ? Or you could look at it in an actual positive way, like they've taken on loads of feedback, they've seen how the game's developed, and they GW have reacted to it and have tried making changes to continue to improve their game, which I think is the better.
I think the last time they did it was like the end times, which obviously at the end times everyone was just like, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
And
that wasn't.
It was the end of Warhammer.
But this has been received much better, though, hasn't it, overall?
Like, I think people always moan.
Yeah.
Going back to the rule book comment, I totally agree, but I think you've got to accept that is not the way GW operate. No. So for that to change, it's going to have to be probably when the next CEO comes in.
I mean, just for me, like if I wasn't buying the books, I'd be buying more toys, so they'd still get my
money. I'm a sucker though. I like physical books.
Yeah,
I love having a collection of physical books. Like I bought every Arcane Journal that comes out, even though I've got no intention of playing half those armies. And same with the Magic cards. I'm just a collectionist.
Yeah, you're a completist.
Yeah, I'm a complete something. That was dangerously quiet. Jesus.
But the deafening silence.
But I'm sure we'll get into it. But we may or may not agree with some of the changes and the direction of the game. But yes, from playing 8th edition, from even editions before that, for me, they've got the right balance between updating it and not updating it. We're not 40k every 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm always a glass half full kind of guy, and I think having changes coming in and supporting the game is a real positive. Even though, and we'll come on to it shortly, there are some things that I don't personally agree with. However, I'm still happy to see the game moving forward, and I think overall, the match play and the FAQ combined, which is what we're predominantly going to talk about,
Yeah,
is a huge positive move forward for the game in general.
it is,
Yeah,
and
agreed.
I think we should set the boundaries out now that what we are going to talk about tonight is our feelings on how the FAQ and match play guide has affected us as gamers, rather than just another stream where we just talk through the FAQ and the match play guide.
Yeah,
And TOs as well.
yeah, how we feel about things as TOs. But I think you're right though. This. If you want a stream where people are going to talk you through the FAQ, like this is not the podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
Plenty of them have been done. They are really good. If you want to watch them,
some of the guys out there have done a really good job with them. To be fair. However, if you want to listen to four nerds talk Warhammer and how the FAQs affected them and how we feel as TOs, this is the place for you. And please settle in and listen to our crap. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
I knew you were going to get in there.
Yeah. It's my favorite line.
Well, we need to change your name to just like and subscribe.
Well, with that in mind, who wants to kick us off as maybe as one of their big takeaways?
Shall we do one each?
Yeah, go on. Do you want to start us, Sib?
Yeah, go on then. So for me, the biggest change that I think is going to have the biggest impact is magic resistance, and how it works and what gets it, because there's a lot of stuff that gets MR1, but there's also a lot of access to very cheap MR2 in some of the armies that I play, and so I've been playing Empire recently, and I'm taking them to the tournament this Sunday. Witch Hunters wards all over the place. So once we move to 1.5, because this tournament is still going to be 1.0, the Witch Hunters wards are just worth twice as much.
With Empire, you cheap level 1 wizards for MR1.
Yeah, that's it. Well, the wizard comes with MR1 anyway.
Yeah.
So you've just got it all over the place. I'm just trying to find my notes again.
So I think with that, I totally agree with you. I think MR is huge now compared to what MR was always decent, but I think now it's so good.
And it opens up. Sorry, Andrew.
Not as powerful, but you don't get your +4s to cast. Makes MR infinitely better as well.
And it opens up so many of the Arcane Journal armies that I previously just went, meh, in the bin, in the bin, in the bin. Now I'm going to be thinking knightly orders. Actually, I can protect my knights. The Nuln army, I can have a wizard run around as level 2, but he's got MR, and it just makes a lot more armies viable for me. So the MR bonus is massive to me. And in the current army that I'm using, I don't think many people have touched on this. Arch Lectors get a zone, which also makes spells two less to cast, which isn't MR.
On the Waller.
Yeah, on the Waller.
It's. I think Empire can start to rival Dwarfs as the best anti-magic list in the game. With that, because of the MR spam, I think so.
Because I had it going way back to our Arcane Journal series.
Yeah.
I had the Archlector on the War Altar to give him the 18-inch range of -2.
Yeah.
It's massive.
I think when you combine, just to build on what you said about MR being one of your big takeaways, I think when you combine that with all the general magic changes, I think a world where you don't take wizards in your list is now so much more viable.
Yeah. Because I felt forced to take a level 4 or a level or something that gives me magic protection. Now that all magic is a little bit harder to cast, I'm now I might take the safety harness off a bit.
I think the other thing is, with that kind of mind, you no longer need the level 4. You can take, say, if there's only 3 spells you really want, you can actually say take a 3 with a low familiar, and then you save yourself 30 points to crack on. Because there's no difference now when it comes to casting or dispelling, which I think is just a real. I think the more flexibility it gives you in building lists is just a really good thing.
Yeah, it's an absolute positive for the game.
It's unbelievable that all the MR stuff didn't get a point increase, because essentially in old money, MR2 is now MR4.
I mean, Spell Eater Axe for 35 points is wild.
Which, on that note, can I go into mine?
Certainly can.
You fire away.
Infantry.
just infantry.
Just infantry or back.
Look at how happy you are.
30 night goblins can actually beat a dragon.
But can't race fanatics and Martian column.
I love that infantry up back, but I love that. Well, so yeah, but I don't love that I'm going to have to paint lots of infantry.
Yeah.
I've infantry and a massive unit filler.
I've kept the faith.
All right, Steve.
But I think with the changes to infantry, very positive. Combined with the match player book, now especially core infantry, unbelievable.
I think that's the beauty, though, isn't it? You look at the infantry bonuses from the FAQ, combined with the scoring and the objectives in match play. That's when you start seeing their real use and capabilities coming forward.
And things like champions that can take 35 points, for example, of magic items.
For example, a Spell Eater Axe.
Yeah. And then sit there and go, come on, dragon, have a go if you fancy it.
I mean, I think it's better. We've talked about it for ages, but I think I'm with you. I think it's good for the game that infantry have had a bonus.
I think we'll start seeing what look like armies.
Yeah. But
Oh.
I think also the changes to infantry, you couldn't just make infantry better. I think the changes to infantry in part are the scenarios as well.
Yeah.
And I think
it's the package.
Yeah, fundamentally changes how we're going to play Warhammer in the future.
Yeah, and I think also we come on to that. We mentioned as TOs, and for those people who've got tickets for Forgotten North 3 in November, the pack will be out by the end of July. We are currently in test phase between us, testing maps versus missions. I think we've kind of all agreed that sometimes a little bit less is more.
Yeah.
And because with the match play, you could very, very easily go mass scenario, mass secondaries across the different games.
Oh, you could have 4 without even thinking about it.
But I can't help but feel if you're going to do that, you might as well play Age of Sigmar. And I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form in a derogatory sense against Age of Sigmar. I just think, and Sim mentioned it earlier before we started recording, if you're not still trying to kill one another and you're just playing objectives, you might as well not play Warhammer. I still think there's a really important balance to be had as a TO when it comes to deciding how many scenarios you put in your pack.
If you can win a game without interacting with your opponent's army, it's not
a game.
You should be able to play, and I think where we are with testing is that the scenarios impact the game, but you can still win the game and ignore them.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a burger, you're going to put some sauce in it, but you don't want 3 types of sauce on it.
Aye. Unless you're combining it to make a special sauce.
Yeah, just for a crap analogy, of course, there.
It's not like the games are going to take 4 or 5 hours now. They don't add any time. It's just being aware of what.
Yeah, I think you're right. The scenarios should add to the game, not try to change the game fundamentally.
And as we found out, it's a whole different level of thinking, because you've got to think, what's more important here? Do I keep with the scenario, or do I go for the throat? Yeah. And it's another level of generalship.
Which again, I think is a real positive for the game, isn't it? Because if it makes you think more, makes you interact more, and gives you more choices. Choice is what you want in the game, isn't it?
Every turn becomes more relevant now, even up to turn 6.
Yeah.
Because
turn 1, when we talked about, wasn't it? Sim, was it you? Turn 1 you do nothing sometimes, but now there's objectives to be had. Actually, it's not just about positioning. There's scoring to be done as well.
Yeah, well, it goes to the 7th turn, which is basically your deployment. if you've got like the free objectives, it now means you've got to deploy differently. You can't just lean into a corner.
And I think because it's not just about killing the other person, it opens up more viable army lists as well.
Yeah. And I think that kind of builds on what's like on Sylph's point, isn't it, earlier? Like the more choices and the more things that are quote unquote viable, the better position the game is in.
And go to it. It's about setting tempo. If I was playing one of your traditional lists, Scott, which are very slow, very ponderous, don't go bored.
Just make me good self.
And I jump up there and I'm suddenly racking up the points in turn 1 and 2. I'm setting the tempo there and you've got to go, oof.
Yeah. Ooh, hey, cheeky.
Oh yeah, you can be on it from very early now.
Right. Which I think as players is really good. And I think as a TO, it really makes you think about your pack in it with a little bit more detail and a bit more thought to it about balancing where the objectives sit versus the various different
and what objectives and what mission.
Yeah. Which, again, I just think it's such a positive thing for the game and where we're going with Old World.
Yeah. Variety can only help. It's never going to be a bad thing.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So whose point was this? I forgot.
So this was mine. This all built on Stan's love of infantry. When he starts sneaking out his dirty dark elves and blocks of infantry without us noticing them.
Oh god! When we get some shells on the table, it's all over.
See some cheeky blackguard floating around.
That's why I'm pleased to back, because all my infantry is painted.
So, Mr. Tunin, what's your favourite takeaway from the FAQ?
It's not a massive one for me. The fact that you can get points for if you got a dragon down to 1 wound, you're getting some points off it. So people can't just run forward and then go and hide in the corner, which is, if you haven't got a lot of range, you've just spent a lot of time chipping off, say, 8 wounds, and he's just gone and hidden. You're just like, well, that's annoying.
I like that, but I don't think they went far enough. I think it should be 50-50.
Yeah, that would be a good. Yeah. That might be a good call, because we've all been there where we've got a dragon or another big large monster down to 1 or 2 wounds, and they sod off.
Yeah. And
you can't get them. You're like, that is so much effort that's gone unrewarded in the game.
Yeah, because if you get down to 1 wound, you can just bugger off and hide it, and then you're protecting a lot of points. But if it's at 5 wounds, you've got to start thinking about whether you're going to protect your dragon or risking it. Yeah. Again, it means you give your opponent the chance to just take it off.
Is it 25% you get?
25%.
Yeah.
You get 50.
But there's subtle change as well to the 20. It's 25% or under now.
Yes.
So your 4 peg knights are giving up points when you get them down to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than holding on to their points. I think that is a good change, Andy. I think you're right. I think
that because the way VPs have changed in general as well, it all works in that way that the little points you get here and there are all adding up differently.
Aye. Because you're right, it's a feel bad when you don't get points for nearly killing something.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that from what Stan's just said. It is 25% and under now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I thought it was still under 25%.
No. Still, once you get 225, you now get the points, which I think is a good thing as well.
So your units that came in multiples of 4.
Yeah.
Your dragon ogres, your pegs.
All my armies.
Yeah.
And his pigs.
And his pigs only come solo.
I don't take my pigs anymore.
Sad times,
Sad
piggy noises.
And the good old days of the block of 18 piggies.
That game was hilarious. What's that? That's me, block of 18 pigs. You heard.
That was a lot of pigs, to be fair. It's funny though.
And not a multiple of 4.
The first one I thought I'd bring up it's a smallish change, but I do think it's positive for the game, and it's one from the FAQ rather than the match play per se, but it's impact hits and stomps.
Yes,
I just think it's just a better quality of life and sensible change for how combat would interact. That impact hits happen first before any challenges are issued, and stomps happen very last after everything else is attacked. I just think it's a good change for how combat should flow.
Yeah.
Must be annoying for you because it was only the other week when we were having a game that I pointed out to you, that stomps happen at Initiative 1.
No, it was the impact hits, wasn't it? I tried impact and hit you before a challenge, and you were like, whoa. Get
No,
back
and then
to
you
that
did the stomps, and I was like, no, they still happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think I think it's a sensible change that's positive for the flow.
But it's similar to what they've done with you can't kill him now with your Dragon Lord and then let your dragon get umpteen extra wounds on you.
That I genuinely also think is one of the best changes for infantry and combat in the game in general.
Essentially, the impact hits, stomps, and challenges have gone back to 8th edition.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they've gone back to 8th edition,
Yeah.
which, like, again, I know there's lots of people out there who hate 8th edition or love 8th edition or hate 6th edition, love 6th edition. Like, frankly, in my opinion, if Old World can continue to pull the good bits from those previous editions, we're just going to get a better game.
They've also managed to create this golden bubble now, whereas if you can get your monster and general to have the same initiative, it's
the magic moment, isn't it?
Yeah, you still get both of them because you haven't moved out that initiative step.
Yeah.
Again, Brett's made out like bandits because Royal Pegs and their characters have got the same initiative.
It only happens for Manticores and Chaos Lords.
And like what? I mean, Brett took out from this whole thing like bandits. Like what? Pegs went up by 4 points. Oh no!
Does it happen with Dark Elves?
Nah, they're certainly not their dragon.
Not the Manticore either. Manticores are initiative 5, and the Lords will be 6.
Yeah,
with first strike.
Yeah, because he's an elf, so he's always going to go first.
Yeah. So the only thing Brett take from this is you can no longer have that stupid big unit of pegs go Vanguard charge. Oh look, I'm there.
Yeah, that is a positive. But I mean, it's what dragon can attack at the same time as its rider is a Leech Priest on a dragon, and that's the real powerhouse that everyone
needs. True powerhouse. Because he's running around with a staff and doppelganger.
I mean, yeah, because without that he's got 2 attacks. He's like strength 3.
And you could get the dragon slaying sword and go all the way there.
Yeah, you could, just for a laugh. Because with doppelganger, the thing is, doppelganger sounds much better than it actually is in practice.
It's also now a lot harder to cast.
It is a lot harder to cast. Like with only +2, it's not an easy cast anymore.
It's 10 to cast or 9?
It's an 8 or a 9.
I think it's a 9, I think.
Essentially, you need at least a minimum of average dice on the dice roll.
So you need something that'll get you a +1.
Yeah. But you haven't got any points. Because it's so... To make sure you got doppelganger, you need Lore Familiar, you need a magic weapon, you need a ward save, because, let's be honest, you're a wizard.
You're very much all in that build.
Or you can just be a Trajan wizard with his massive axe.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but then your wizard, you're not going the same time as your mount, the way.
He's not in a Trajan, he's on his foot anyway. Yeah, in a massive block of white lions.
Friends that I walk around a forest with. Cool. I think that's a first round. What? You got another one that you want to?
Yes.
Bring up, Sid. Back to you.
So JTY killed the poison blob. I love it.
I hate everything about what you.
I think poison got hit far too much.
Thank you, Andy.
Apart from, I get the whole TMP Goblin Toon King block was really annoying. You take what happened with them away. No one else moaned about poison. It wasn't, these skinks or plague bearers are ruining me day.
So it wasn't big, it wasn't clever, and obviously smaller units with poison have been affected by it. But I just despise that whole, I'm putting all my points here, I'm putting a banner on, and I'm just going to shoot everything, and I'm going to...
It's certain people that play Crutch Hammer. It's just...
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the people who play Dragons, Andy, isn't it?
I don't play them either. It's fine.
As someone that had the dubious pleasure of playing Scott's Poison Brick multiple times, I am so pleased that is dead and buried where it should be. But Poison that style of play took a triple nerf.
It did, yes.
Yes,
completely.
I was going to say it's not just the poison nerf, because I think the change to poison is too much, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I know this. Our records are always predominantly positive, and I'd like to stay that way. But poison changing to +2 when you roll a 6. I just don't like it. I don't find it very intuitive either. I wish if they're going to change it, they just went back to an old version where anything with poison has +1 to wound, and it doesn't matter what you roll to hit. You just once you hit, you get +1 to your wound roll.
I would agree with you. That would be an elegant, simple solution.
Yeah. Rather than you may add +2. So if I roll my next 5 dice, I get a 4, 5, and a 6. I can add it to the 4, so I wound.
Yeah.
It's just a +2, and you're just like,
the rules is written like
it doesn't have to use the 6 dice. And
not really, because the rules are written as you resolve each shot separately.
But I just think it was like you say, the poison I think is over the top. Personally, I think because you'd already like the limiting the unit to 500 points was a massive thing. Which
the massive thing for your army.
Although it ruined my list, which was hurtful.
Yeah,
certain type of people, Sib,
and I'm still getting
undeserved.
Like, let us be horrible people. I think limiting units and characters to 500 points is a good thing for the game, even though it hurt my list.
Yeah.
I just think when you've done that, which again I do think is genuinely positive, and the poison change, I just think it's
and the large target and the TMP
and the large target nerf, being able to shoot them, and TMP being restricted. I just think that is a lot.
And chariots and units.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, these things are as much as they've hurt my list. I do agree with the good of the game, though.
Yeah.
Like, you can still put your character.
I mean,
if you want, but you get
the
shot.
funny thing to me is that Scott's just finished painting the army.
I'm 100% behind you, Scott. I think
found a workaround though for all those skeletons, haven't I?
Yeah, I think that it was hit with a very large hammer, and it didn't need to be. I think they've fixed the cause, not the no. That's the wrong way of putting it. I just would have personally limited unit size.
Well, I think they've done that with 500 points, haven't they? So that kind of fixes it by itself.
But that doesn't fix the goblin one, because goblins can still do it for half the price.
It doesn't. But if you've done between the 500 point one and the only shooting in 2 ranks. Like, I think this is the poison
and TMP.
And the TMP. I think the poison one was just one.
And the
because it hurts
and the
like elves and skinks and
yeah, you're right.
Rely on light shooting.
And don't forget the last part of the puzzle as well. You've changed magic, so you're not getting TMP guarantee. Plague of Rust.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think the poison one was, and I'm not just saying this because I play Tomb Kings and I like poison shots, and I do like poison shots, obviously. I think it hurts.
Yeah.
I think it's one step too far.
I don't mind them limiting genuinely mass blocks of shooting because I think it's good for the game. But this change to poison hurts wood elves.
It does. I'm glad it's gone, but I think they've done it the wrong way.
Yeah. None of my armies have got poison, but I think it's a massive nerf too far for the poison.
Yeah, I agree. I think, as I said, I think if you wanted to nerf poison, just change it with a flat +1 to wound, irrelevant of what you hit, would have been a much more elegant fix.
Yep, I would agree. And things like the spider banner, you turn around and say, if you've got the spider banner, it's +2 to wound.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe it's so crazy. Like, to take the spider banner, you need to be on spiders.
Yeah, give them plus.
Have a unit of but I think there was more. I just think it's a lot of unnecessary fixes. That all it did anyway really was combat large targets.
I mean, it's a shame.
It was the they were there to address the problem that large targets were essentially killable for certain armies.
I think they just went too far. It was too many changes, and it's the only example of it in the FAQ where things have been hit 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, agreed. I think a lot more, almost everything that they've done in the match play and the FAQ is to improve the game. Genuinely, I really do believe that. I think the poison was just unnecessary on the back of all the other changes.
Yeah. If none of the other changes had happened, poison would have been fine.
Yeah. In fairness, I would actually still be happy having poison as 6s to a wound with all the other changes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I totally agree. I think
didn't need to do it.
If they'd left all models that could draw line of sight could shoot a large target rather than limited to 2 ranks, then yeah, nerf poison. But I actually think that the limited 2 ranks is a better fix because it doesn't negatively impact the light poison shooting that you see in other armies.
This has just been caused because of people like you, Scott. It's your fault.
Well, I mean, possibly. GTY did frown on us when I was using a block of 75 archers at Warhammer. Oh, well, hey.
You just shrank very quickly.
Again, it's back. If the problem is actually the Royal Host list, poison isn't the problem, it's the Royal Host list. So change that to you've got to have as many archers as you do spearmen.
I mean, that would be a fix as well. Like, actually, another quite elegant fix to the problem, if that's what we think the problem is.
Because with the 2 rank shooting now, and the objectives and everything else, Night Goblins are going to have to move.
Yeah. So
it's only Royal Host that is constantly volley firing, so just go, it's 1 for 1.
Yeah, that would be. I think say you can only get two caught on the negatives, but I do think the poison change is a negative. But I think Sim's actual point with that big blobs of shooting, taking off dragons.
Oh, I don't. It's not just about taking off dragons; it's taking off anything.
Yeah, which is not untrue. Which is a positive thing, I suppose, in general.
I think that's the one misstep.
Me poison shots.
We'll all come round and pet you later and bring you brown ale and stuff.
I need some sort of moral pick me up after that. After reliving that heartache of reading the FAQ about me poison.
Over to Stan. Number 2.
Go on and Stan, what's your next favourite takeaway from FAQ or match play?
I really like the standardisation of vortexes now.
What with
no more pillar of fire going where you want.
I tell you what, everything that also is stealth buff to vampires.
It's a stealth buff to all of
massive buff to vampires.
The only people that have now got dangerous terrain are the legacy armies.
It's not even about the dangerous terrain, it's more Pillar of Fire was one of the biggest threats
to
Pillar of Fire necromancers.
But if you're talking about Dark Elves, Big Pie, dangerous terrain.
Yeah.
No one else has got dangerous terrain on the templates now.
I'd also, I'm with you, I think the standardization of them in the fact that you can dispel them from the vortex, not the wizard, I think is a positive thing.
They're all just difficult now. If you move into them, you take the hits.
That should always have been the case. I think in our collective opinion, I think we've all agreed on that.
You're
going to see less of them.
Yeah. I think they've gotten a lot worse.
Yeah,
and you can't bounce them through a whole army now,
which you shouldn't have been doing before either.
It takes you back to the whole ridiculous Purple Sundays of 8th, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think I'm with you. That is overall a positive for the game, as a whole. I don't disagree with that at all, actually. Yeah.
So, Mr. T.
Mr. T.
I'm torn between 2.
Go on then, which one do you...
We got 2 left, so you can
Andy, because we love you so much, you can have both.
Oh, thanks.
But this does count as your birthday and Christmas present.
Well, stupidity first now actually does something.
Oh, that was my next one on my list, stupidity.
I'll risk going stupid. Oh, well, I can still do everything I want to do. Now, you can't do anything, which is what it should always have been.
I totally agree. I think
it does hurt the troll hag list now somewhat more.
You can't even score an objective when you're stupid.
No, I think the change stupidity is again for what stupidity is. I think you're right though, Andy. I think it's the total right change for the game. Essentially, takes stupidity back to what it was in almost every other edition, but certainly what it was in 8th edition.
I've just finished painting up 30 Cold One nights.
Stupid is as stupid does, Stan.
I'm raging.
30 Cold One nights.
30 Cold One nights.
Hope it's not 1 unit.
No, it was 2 units.
It was one. I had a massive unit. He was like, I want a massive unit as well. Cold One nights it is.
Yeah.
At least Stan painted his own models, though.
I painted some of my own models as well, thank you very much. Fiona's just been basing all of them, bless her. I just started gluing me, you sharply together as well.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, that one is gonna it'll butcher me because the amount of times I roll a 1 on my Eye of the Gods chart. I'm just going to now have to.
And you're just like, oh well, it'll be fine.
Is there a maximum on the re-rolls you can take? Because I'm going to have to take them all.
You can only re-roll the dice once, can't you?
Yeah, but I can re-roll one dice. I'll need 6.
Yeah. He'll need 6 1 for each turn.
Yeah. How many favors of the gods you've got? I've got all of them. All of them.
100 points of favor. Yeah. Favor of the gods.
We're saying for the beastman, you could do it on your shaman if you wanted to, and then you could still then cast all your vile tide, your fire, whatever you wanted.
Yeah, but you can't even get the Eye of the Gods. The favor of the gods on the beastman.
Yeah, I don't use it very often. I only ever used it on me combat shaman.
I think you're right though. Like, even though it's got some negatives, the change of stupidity is definitely a good move.
It's how it should be.
Of course it is.
You're going to get with the other little change. You potentially a Chaos Lord. Yeah, he's leadership 9 or 10, but you could be taking 2 leadership tests a turn with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One for his dragon, and then 1 for his stupidity.
It's like, am I stupid? No. Am I charging? Yes.
Aye.
Stupid.
Yeah. At least your fear of stupidity it doesn't kick into impetuous. Not that you're that bothered about impetuous. You're a lord on a dragon. You probably charge it anyway.
Well, to be fair, that was my second one. Was the impetuous change now being your LD?
Oh well, continue on.
I think that's
a massive change. Especially if you look at like my Khorne demons now, they've got a decent leadership. They've all got MR. They've got infinitely better from the MR. They've now got impetuous that isn't as bad. I mean, Khorne demons. Literally, there's no downside from the FAQ for them. Everything was a good thing for them. There's less magic, getting rid of their ward saves.
Imagine if they just took out the magic weapon rule for demons. That'd be amazing.
It'd be so much better.
Just be at least competitive high. I think the big list that benefits from impetuous as well is the Errantry Crusade list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
mind you, are they still on a 50-50? Because they're about leadership 7 anyway. They're still a 50-50 unless you get the general there.
The general's generally nearby enough.
Yeah.
I think it's just goblins that suffer because they're LD 6, so they've dropped from 50-50 down to like 42% or something.
Yeah.
But great change that the changed warband.
Yeah. I think like that kind of almost piggybacks on the back of the stupidity rule almost, doesn't it? It gets quite linked, but taking
the impetuous.
Yeah, it's on your own unmodified leadership.
Yeah, and you can't use and warband has been changed saying you can't use the bonus.
Yeah.
But I'll say the other little one about leadership while we're here, the change where your general has to be the highest leadership. So no more stupid handmaidens with noble BSBs.
Yeah. Sensible bit of ruling.
The only difference is obviously you white kings can't be your general still, but that's about it for VC. They're the only ones that are really affected otherwise, aren't they?
High elves.
High elves, because the whites. It was only really the white lord that could be the BSB anyway, not the king.
Do you know what I'm getting the vision that JTY or whoever else it was went through all the tournament winning armies and went, yeah, we'll spank that, we'll spank that.
You wouldn't be surprised.
You say that vampires got away give or take scot-free because of the way engines buff their casts.
Back in the vortex, you stopped.
In the Pearly Towers, vampires don't exist.
Sorry, you're right. That's true. I mean, Brett have barely been smacked with anything really.
What you saying? Those 10-point and 4-point increases?
Don't you get out?
Oh, the Falcon Horn.
The Falcon Horn getting nerfed is such a good move.
Yeah, but it's just been brought in line with all the other no-fly things.
Yeah.
But vampires made away.
Vampires
made away like bandits.
Oh my god! Oh my goodness!
Hey.
I think vampires. Honestly, I actually think vampires are the best army in the game.
Especially with the regen change.
Yes, I think I'm on board with this now.
Regen unstable. Woo!
I mean, they were good anyway.
Regen Unstable was just insane, though.
Regen, sorry, vampires were always a top tier army anyway. I genuinely think they're probably now the S tier army in the game.
I think
he
Charlie's
probably
paid someone.
encourages different builds with the regen change, though.
Sorry?
I think the regen change will encourage different VC builds than you've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, it makes Graveguard even better because that's what they needed, a buff.
Did they?
No,
I actually thought
they didn't.
I didn't get the sarcasm there.
They were a common theme.
The problem with Graveguard is, in the old school meta, everything else was just better.
Yeah.
But now with the match play pack,
I think Graveguard are arguably the best bit of infantry in the game.
Imagine if Tomb Guard got the same bonuses.
Can
Tomb Guard are just crap Graveguard, aren't they?
They always have.
They have been. Yeah, they have been. They always have been.
Can Graveguard take the upgrade to not be pushed back?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, they're the best infantry in the game.
Yep. And they can take the Drakenhof banner for the 5-up regen.
Yeah, put them on the central objective and have fun, boys.
Here's a one.
Hitting on 3s with a 3-up armor, 5-up regen. 5-up regen on your unstable.
Just literally butcher anything. Like, something comes into them and they'll probably butcher it.
Indomitable D3, generally, if you got your white in there, it's just
if you've got a secondary wizard on Dark Magic for the combat buffs,
Cleave and blow as well.
Like, Graveguard just go absolutely ham.
If you think for that objective one, we just got to sit in the objective, you go, well, there's 20 odd Graveguard. They'll be there for a while.
But Andy, what happens if you deploy them in Linehammer and get all 3 objectives with them?
You can't.
Can you claim one each, can you?
No.
Yeah.
Objectives, you can claim multiple. It's table orders how you can only claim one each.
I thought objective, you had to be in range of 1.
Nope.
Yeah, but you just go the whole board wide.
Objectives, units can claim multiples. It's board quarters that are...
You can't.
Stan's going to the book.
You have to be fully...
Stan is going to the book.
But we'll circle back to Stan when he goes, oh my god, you're right. Let's go crazy with...
Is Linehammer not dead, though?
It is dead, but and that was the next one I was going to say.
Well, moving on to you then, Scott.
Which was the change to the fighting rank / supporting attacks. And what I mean by that one is the killing of Linehammer, which is just good for the game. Yeah, I'm right, aren't I?
Yeah, right. We're right.
Right.
Yeah, we're right. You know what that means? That hence the double blob.
Yeah. Stan has been beaten.
It's long enough. He's had enough. It's not what he signed up for.
30 cold ones, Stan.
30 cold ones. But no, I think the changes to supporting attacks, the fighting ranks, and how that interacts with movement. I mean, I think it's more complicated than maybe it needed to be, but I do like the fact that we've essentially killed off the concept of Linehammer, which was just nonsense anyway, and never actually worked to win an event. And thank God for that, frankly, because it's ridiculous.
And on that note, what I thought had always been in the FAQ, but apparently I dreamt it, that you can't use a character to deny attacks.
Yes, I'm with you. I thought this was always in the FAQ, but it's not. It's new. But it's
just
really
the one Stan's got with his little pencil mark at the bottom.
That's probably.
Is this still? Are we talking about when the character's in a challenge?
Yeah.
People can only attack him.
That it can't block the no. So if you can't see at the end of the unit, he's accepting a challenge at the end of the unit, and that would mean theoretically the unit you were in combat with is no longer touching that unit. They can still attack the unit because they can't block units attacking units with characters.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
I did something a long time ago, Stan. I think.
I always thought there was something in there saying you can always attack the unit.
That was FAQ'd into the community rules in 8th edition.
Right.
Because it was in this edition, but it wasn't until
now. It was a tidy little trick to put a tectonic mount on the edge of a unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now it doesn't stop anything.
Yeah.
Which is good for the game.
Yeah. Better for
I think so. Yeah. Again, it is. Most of these changes that we've talked about are just genuinely good for the game and for the state of how it's played, which I just think, again, is a positive.
Yeah.
No more first charge vanguards. as a Brett player that abused it, that's gone.
Aye, that's a rule that's just right.
Yeah.
It's just a right rule. Of course you shouldn't be able to Vanguard and charge turn 1, you gamey bastards. Pardon my language.
So my third...
You couldn't do it with your lists.
Go on then, Sim, what was your next one you wanted to real bring up?
Yeah, it's a strange one, my third one. So I think the advent of MSU is gone, and now we're going to get MHU. And MHU is multiple hidden units. Return to prevalence of scouts and ambushes at units round 10.
I think, I suppose that kind of leads us onto our over. Has anyone stick a pin in that one just a second? Has anyone got any other FAQ or match play points they'd really like to bring up? Because I think what Sim just brought up, I think leads on to what we think the evolution of the meta might be.
I've got nothing else. Burning desires.
No, I think.
No, and there's only so often I can complain about chariots being able to get shot in units, so we'll just park that one.
Or poison.
Or poison.
Give me the 5 minutes on poison.
Yeah, should I just cry a little bit more about poison?
Everyone just fast forward 5 minutes.
No, go on then, Sim. Like you see, I think this is a really interesting point because I think we're about to go into what is the next phase of like a meta evolution.
So I don't want my ambushes to come on turn 2 now. I want my ambushes to be staying off till turn 5. So that when they come on turn 5 at full unit strength, they can take a quarter or contest an objective. Having troops off the board now has got a bit of value to it.
Similarly, I think it's not the troops off the board either, because the list I'm going to use again with Scott on Sunday, I want to try 2 level 1 ambushing Bray Shamans with Viletide. Right. They can come in a later turn and go, well, that's your scoring unit now below 10. That's that scoring unit below 10.
But also, like, when you're playing Wood Elves, you might not want your scouts. You're going to lose the +1 to go first with scouts, and that's a big hit. But now you might want to keep your scouts hidden out the way of in a board corner behind a wood somewhere, and effectively just they're only going to gain so many points in the game, right? A unit of Wood Elf scouts aren't going to score more than 300 points really in a game, but now they can get almost a guaranteed 200.
The other thing with that +1. The other massive change in the match play guide, the winner of the roll-off chooses who goes first or second. No longer has to go first, which I think is a massive, massive change to how the game's played.
But this is the interesting one, is where do you think, we'll just assume core and it's the strategic locations, is the dominant mission type?
I think they will predominantly be most of them. I think in a 5 round GT, one will have domination, one will have King of the Hill, and I think there'll be at least 2 games of various types of strategic locations.
So what does that do to unit strength? Because I'm thinking infantry now, you're looking at 14 to 16 minimum. Yeah. Cav probably.
You want some retardation on the wounds, don't you?
Yeah. On Cav, you're probably looking at about the same as well.
I think Cav you'll make up to 7s or 8s.
7 to 9.
Yeah, for 14 to 16 unit strength.
Yeah. I actually think with a lot of these changes, I'm in 2 minds where I think the meta will shift. I either think it'll go to mass, small, like medium-sized units like you're talking about there.
20, what, like 16, 14 to 18?
Yeah, like 12s to 16s, except in one unit, and then a lot of cav for scoring with the armies that can't do that. I think what you might also see is a return of the Death Star.
Yeah.
I actually think the forthcoming meta, rather than being a monster meta that we've had arguably for the last while, is going to be a bit of a Death Star meta.
Jumping on some of your ideas that you expressed, and I've now had time to think about them, I think you're right. I think if you do take a dragon, you double dip.
I think you're right. Like I said, I think people who
has to have support.
Will just take more dragon. Like the solution to a few dragon nerfs, not that many though with the shooting change, The solution to a slight dragon nerf is just more dragons. Like, I think if you can take multiple monsters and flying characters, you go in for a penny and for a pound, you just double down on it and go whole hog. And if you're warriors, if you're going to take a dragon, you might as well take 3.
Yeah, because if your dragons have been nerfed, so is what hurts them. So they're not as good, but they also don't die or get hurt half as quick as what.
And it's what kills dragons now. Static combat res. Well, what stops static combat res? A second dragon.
Yeah,
more dragons.
More dragons.
Even Tools, he loves it.
If you're taking a Tomb King on a dragon, for example, you've got to take at least your 2 Necrosphinxes as friends.
But that goes back to what I was saying earlier about pacing the game. If I'm facing triple dragon, I chuck everything on scoring. You've 2 dragons have got to go into 1 unit. The other dragon isn't likely to go in unsupported into a second unit.
Yeah, I think if you almost think of the army list as kind of like some sort of combined force, I think we'll either see a Death Star or Monster Mash, but either one will then be supported by multiple smaller scoring units.
Do you know the good thing?
Helps things like Chaos is that you've got either your knight or a chariot to cause first charge.
Yeah,
that with the dragon is massive.
Yeah, and the 2 dragon thing, it means that like 2 dragons could be going off and doing 2 different targets and doing twice as much points. Now that they've got to go together and work together, technically they're getting half the agency in the game. They're going to get half the amount of points because they've had to work together,
which is a good thing. But
I
think if you're going to go monsters, you now just go like essentially balls out and you go just monster crazy.
Even Double Dragon going into a unit with a static 6 or 7 is no guarantees.
It's no guarantee, but it's probably going to win with 2 dragons.
Well, can we talk about
dragons that Stan loves is Arcane Urgency got easier to cast.
I love the fact that the nerf TMP. The nerf TMP and the thought Arcane Urgency that needs to be slightly easier. Because no, of course it's actually gotten 1 harder. I know that.
Yeah, you're adding 2 to it instead of 4, so it didn't get easier.
But it's now easier than TMP for arguably better spell now.
But can we
TMP's paying for its sins.
To be honest, TMP is how we used to. Well, some of us used to play it anyway.
I mean, I don't mind the nerf TMP. I do think people have, when they've been rebalancing, they haven't seen how broken some of the other movement spells are, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Look, what's Stealing Shadows is immense.
It's nonsense. And Arcane Urgency is just nonsense as well. The fact that you can fail a charge and then cast it on them in March.
Yeah.
What the very flying bejesus is that all about?
If it was just infantry, you wouldn't mind. You crack on with that.
I wouldn't mind at all, actually. I think it would be a good thing for him, which is how it's probably designed. They didn't really take into account the fact that someone will use it to get a dragon 40 inches up the board.
We're looking at you there, Sib. You're that
I've only ever went 39 inches with it.
You two people are bad people. And you deserve the royal host. You people deserve the royal host. You deserve the royal host.
Nah.
I personally think using it on random movers, even though that's been FAQ'd to what we said, I still think using it on random movers is wild.
That's the funniest way of doing it as well.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the immortal warp fire dragon now?
Yeah, I think we should.
Not immortal, just the hand grenade.
Like,
blows up, kills stuff, saves its regen. It's back in the game.
To blow up again. I mean, rules as written, with how regen now works, that is theoretically how the warp fire should work. It dies, it reduces 0 wounds, it blows up. At the point of being reduced to 0 wounds, it also then takes its last regen save.
Yeah.
And if it comes back, it's then back on 1 wound.
It's kind of like the old Flame Fire Phoenix, the old A-bomb rule where you can die, but then may come back. It's similar kind of rule in
it. You're relying on a 5-up, but hey, honestly, rules as written. That is how it's written now.
Is the truth still is it same with say timber? Like a tree man does his timber roll, then saves the wound.
Not sure. I want to check the wording.
Yeah, maybe, because the warfare one is worded as when it's
reduced. When it's reduced to 0 wounds before it is removed from play.
Right, it might be different for the tree man.
Although timber probably still remains Mr. Tunadine's favourite rule.
It is my favourite rule. It's just amazing.
Look at you. Every time you even think about it, you start to smile. It's brilliant. It's that time it fell on us and killed me.
It's when the model is reduced to 0 wounds. The winner of the roll-off chooses one of its arcs.
Yeah, so that's after you regen.
Aye, because that's...
Well, no, it's when this model is reduced to 0 wounds.
That's when it's the same as the Warpfire Dragon, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, the Warpfire Dragon is when it is when it loses its last wound before it is removed from play.
Well, that's it. When the model is reduced to his last wounds, then the bit about how you do it. Then once these are resolved, then you're removed from play. So you die, you do the hits, and then you do your regen, then you're removed from play. Because the hits are done before you're removed from play. So is it the similar wording?
It's different wording. It's not exact wording.
But is it one of those ambiguity things where...
We'll have to review that one ready for...
Yeah, he's going the forgotten off FAQ.
We'll clarify that.
There's not many of us with Treeman, to be fair.
No, there's not many of you with...
I think it's millions.
Trig's running around with a 6-3-man army now, though.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for the game that comes back to the Warpfire Dragon. Waiting for the game it comes around and someone goes, it blew up in my lines 3 times.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, imagine if you got double cannoned in your lines. And then
I'm willing to bet that will happen with Liam.
It's going to happen.
It's going to be Liam.
Does anyone else think there's anything weird, wonderful, or a little bit different with the meta as it changes?
I'll just be interested to see where it goes. I'm assuming that the match play pack is pretty much adopted.
Yeah, when I'm talking about the evolving meta, I'm working on the proviso that match play and scoring is in place at every event.
Can't see it not being.
I can't. No, I'm with you. We've waited for this for ages from GW. Why would you not adopt it and embrace it?
But I think most events are going to go for it.
I mean, the way it's done with objectives, I do think, again, VC Tomb King's got a boost because you can wound them and go, I'm back into my unit strength, I can score again. So you'll see more VC and Tomb Kings going second almost every game for that reason.
Going second is now you might because of objectives, you may well really want to go second, which makes that roll-off even more viable.
But most armies, unless you're playing something like mass artillery, there's not much shooting in turn 1, even with magic that's ever in range. It's very limited. Other than your positioning for where you want to move for your objectives, it's probably worth going 2 more than first.
Yeah.
I think Tomb Kings and Vampires want to go first because they want to get on the middle of the objective so they can't be pushed back.
It all depends what objective you play.
If it's strategic locations, you want to be on the middle and be unmovable, so then you can't be pushed off it. Because if your opponent goes first and they get the middle spot and you can't push them back, it doesn't matter how good your unit is, they've got the middle spot.
Other than there's not lots that can't be pushed back off a big block of dead stuff.
No.
But your zombies need to win the combat to push them back.
That's not the zombies that win the combat, it's the crazy
Grave
God.
Yeah.
The Grave God killing everything it touches.
The black goat to the side.
You're objective in your half.
All the time while Charlie stands at the side of the board just smiling at people as he murders them.
I've given up on the objective that the Grave God will stand on. I'm talking about the other two.
Yeah, of course you are. Are you going to engage the Grave God? No.
They're not going anywhere quick. When I played Liam ages ago with his Tomb Kings, he had 2, I can't know if it's 40 or 50 man, big phalanxes. I was like, Liam, they're not moving anyway. He's like, yeah.
But
they become genuinely viable in scenario play.
Yeah.
And all joking aside, that is a good tactical thing. You've got a Grave God, 3 strategic locations. You've got the Grave God sitting on the middle one. If your opponent's just attacking the 2 on either side, you've then got a lot of points just sitting in that middle spot, and they're only getting 60 a round.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Or they do it.
Yeah, but if they get their turn 1 and they're going to take 360 points in the game, feasibly.
Yeah.
Yep. And not die, so they protect their 400 odd points, whatever it is.
But I think when you look at the objectives,
as a
it's
net
your
player,
movement
then
tiles
it's
are better.
800 points nearly.
Yeah,
It's how
but
much
then
your
your
movement tiles
opponents,
are better.
if your opponent's taking
Yeah.
the two other ones, they're getting 720.
It's
But
what your other army's doing. Though you've still got another God knows how many points.
Yeah, are they taking the other ones? Because you've got to wade through quite literally hundreds of zombies.
But that's the point. Like, a Death Star is great, but a Death Star can only be in one place.
Yeah, and that goes back to my original point that I think you're going to see a lot more units on the table than you previously did.
Oh, I agree. That's as I said. I think you're going to either see fundamentally a core of dragons or monsters, or you're going to see a Death Star, and then you're going to see that whatever that core is supported by smaller units to grab objectives and stuff, or the other alternative I thought you might see that, but not every army can do this, is a evasion meta.
Yeah.
Where you just avoid stuff and try to score.
The old skink cloud, but for a different reason.
Yeah, like you think about how you play competitively play skinks in 8th edition.
Not so much evasion, but I can see, there's an argument to say what else would be a prime example. You've got your Glade Riders pushed to the far side of objectives, so people can't get to them without going through the Glade Riders. And then you've got your Scouts as a second line on the objective.
Oh yeah, like when I say evasion, what I mean is like essentially mobile stuff that can threaten from range, do some shooting, and not get caught or hurt too much.
Or slows things down. Speed bumps.
Yeah. I'm very interested. I mean, obviously, this is just like me thinking out loud a little bit, and like us all thinking out loud and bouncing ideas around. I'm very intrigued though to see where the meta goes.
I'll be sacking off a lot of knights to be putting a lot more archers in my empire.
Well, because they're score and core.
Yeah, score and core with scout. Just up them to about 12s instead of running 2 7s, make them 12s.
Yeah.
I think scout is actually more viable now than it was.
But yeah,
even with the change.
You can scout onto objectives.
Yeah. Which was, as I say, another part of this point. Scouts and ambushes over unit strength 10 becomes so much better now.
Especially something like Empire, where you've got 1,000,000 drops anyway. Who cares? You're never getting the +1 anyway.
It's only +1.
And somebody might not want the first turn.
Yeah. But it's only essentially +1/-1 to your roll. It's not game breaking, and I think being able to put those scouts on objectives, it especially depending on who you're playing against, can really just start putting. You mentioned earlier, Stan, like the tempo of the game can start building that and moving it forward, and just getting people to think about it differently a little bit, which I think is a very interesting look at how the meta and how the game itself is.
I can't wait to see what the lists are in November.
Yeah. I mean, you deploy your scouts turn 1.
By then, there's been several months of playing essentially 1.5.
I think our November event has ended up in the Goldilocks zone, where it'll not be solved.
But it might be just about there, though.
It'll be close, but it won't be there, I don't think.
No, that's my point. It'll be almost that perfect spot where we'll still see a real variance and a real people still feeling out what they feel the meta is. And I think you might see local meta things that you saw, especially you saw early on in the first edition. Like local metas evolving. Like some local metas might be Death Star heavy, some might be evasion heavy, some might be gunline heavy. Although you're going to need scoring units. I do think it's going to be really interesting where things begin to settle.
But I think we see how many people go no magic and just go full on combat, very little magic.
Honestly, I think a no magic full send list when you stack MR to cycle all the way back to Sib's first point is a genuinely viable option.
I think it's probably the best way to play Lizardman now is no casters.
Get rid of the slant.
Lizardman, you just go bound item crazy and skinks.
Yeah.
And stop.
Skinks and engines.
Skinks and engines. Skengens.
But like I said, on the other side of it is the TO meta.
Yeah.
Are we going to see one objective, or we're going to see multiple, or
I know that. I mean, that's obviously for ourselves who run events and attend events, where people come down on the decision of how much of the secondaries to involve, I think will be very interesting. I firmly believe so far, from what we've read and tested, that one secondary per scenario is the right way to go.
yeah, one additional scoring, whether it be a primary like King of the Hill.
Like one other scoring point on top is the way to go, I feel. But like listening to some like other people out there, and it's like if you look at sort of what I believe Rob's probably going to do in TSN is going to be lots of objectives, and I do feel at the moment my gut feel tells us less is more to a point.
I would agree with you.
The game could be made far too complex, I think. It's already the most complex war game on their planet.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be careful how far we push that.
I totally agree.
Because my brain won't handle it.
In a year's time, we might feel differently.
Oh, yeah, we might well do. And like, fast forward to when we get a second edition, who knows how the game's moved forward in the meantime? Like, who knows? Hopefully they look at what they've done and they think, oh my god, what we need to do is bring back Poison, let Chariots go in unit, stop Scott being sad, the world's a better place again.
No.
In fact, let's just remove the 500 point cap and just fly, my pretties, fly.
After what we've seen this week, I'm expecting January to be another light touch.
Yeah, I think the next round. I mean, who knows what the next 6 months look like, but I would imagine so. The other thing I suppose we didn't mention was I expect tournaments to overall adopt both the Grand Melee and the combined arms restrictions out of the match play guide. I think we mentioned in the last video, didn't we? But I think they pair to become one actual.
They do seem strange on their own.
Tournament, like
it's like they're designed to link together. They weren't designed to be on their own.
I think so. Well, if anyone wants to drop the 500 point limit, I'll come and show you why it should probably be
there. Yeah, you're the reason that 500 point limit there.
Oh, it's not just me. There's other people out there.
I think the only thing with the match play guide and the Grand Melee thing, it just makes it harder for TOs like us to checklists because there's more things to look for.
There's more things to look for, which is why, thankfully, when it comes to November and we're checking 60 lists, there's 4 of us.
So yeah, that is good handy.
Yeah.
Well, that's us rambled on nicely for an hour, which has been a delight. Has anyone got anything else that we feel like we've missed out on when it comes to match play or FAQ or tournament?
Well, I want to ask your feelings on something that basically impacts upon match play and tournaments.
Is it poison?
No, it's
I
not
don't like
poison.
it.
I've been playing 2,500 points for Durham as opposed to 2,000 points. Now I know we're staying 2,000 points for the November GT, and I wouldn't change that for anything now. But I've had a lot more fun playing 2.5, and I think it's a much better level to play the game at.
Still limiting characters to 1,000 points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not bothered which way you do it. I just want more on the table, to be honest.
I'm not inherently adverse to it. I think it almost needs then further restricted to, so you don't then get 1,250 points of characters because it kind of takes from the point.
I'm generally against it because, as we saw, that it causes even more complexity in list building and people making errors in it. You then look at objectives because it devalues objectives further.
Objective scoring, or the scoring in general, goes different once you go above 2,000 points as well, doesn't it?
It does. I
Yeah.
mean, Games Workshop
But-
give us a table for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, a strategic objective is worth 30 points at 2,000 points. It's worth 30 points at 2,500 points,
Yes. Yeah,
which
right.
is worse.
It's much less valuable. Yeah, I don't disagree.
I think there will be a creep. There's always been a creep in points. You mean 8 side of a 2K, then 2,250, 2,4, 2,5. I think next year there will be a general creep in points for.
I think, I mean, for a long time, 2-4 was the accepted tournament value, wasn't it? For a long time.
For a good few years, then it would jump to 2,5 and then
I
settle
think
down.
there's a culture in GW now that it is, if you look across all of it, it is 2,000 points.
What, that 40k and stuff as well, is it?
Yeah.
So
Everything's
30K
about-
and has been for a long time.
What, 3k and 30k, is it?
Yeah. Because you need big blobs. You don't get much for 2K and 30K. You get very little.
I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where the game moves. I think almost everything's up in the air, and where that takes us. To be honest, which is again just I don't know. I know I sound like a broken record. Just exciting to be playing involved in the hobby at this stage. I think.
Playing a supported game is very exciting.
Yeah. For considering we played unsupported Warhammer for like a decade.
We
have a supported game again.
What we haven't touched on, which isn't really been discussed anywhere that I've seen, what on God's earth is going to be in these arcane journals?
What, the next batch?
We've had 18 months of knowing what was going to be in them.
So it's going to be a bit like the way they do with 30K to move the story on. It's like going to be almost like Storm of Chaos from 6th, 7th, like campaign books of these are a couple of new.
I hope it is something like
general magic item. I think it'll be like the way 30K's done the black books before. It's going to be a progressive story, I think, going forward.
I hope that is true. What I expect from I think we're going to have two different types of books as we gut. I think what we hope might have is something like the match play, but from less of a competitive standpoint, and hope. And this is a wish list for me. So like it's completely foundless. But something what Andy just said, that it's actually like campaign books to move the armies the game forward. What I think we might hopefully see with Arcane Journals though is more variation of existing armies. So for example, if I'm just going to pick a couple out of sort of my mind, the next dwarf one will hopefully have an actual Slayer army, not a Slayer army that you need Ungram for example. Or you might find, hopefully, and I say hopefully because I hope they take a massive points decrease because it's an absolute disgrace that they haven't so far, a Forest Goblin army where you can feasibly run a Ragnaroks.
I think, again, I don't think we'll get two types. I think we'll get one book. But I think it'll be an amalgamation of what you said. What we might get is the story that was set up in the Border Prince. Mm-hmm. Here's another
front
army composition list for Bretonnian, and another Tomb King, and a couple more special units.
And that would instead of being focused on the Border Prince area where we're up here on the map instead, for example.
Yeah, so you'll get like two or three armies with an army of infamy, a few magic items, and then maybe a special unit or two in.
You might get a dwarf one for like the Carrick 8 Peaks battles. There's loads they could do.
Yeah,
so essentially what Andy said, Storm of Chaos books.
Yeah, what I'm imagining. I can't do what else to do, really.
Aye, and I hope so, because, like, again, it moves the game forward, and it's interesting, and cool. Like, everyone... Wait,
and you might get Ark in the Black.
Oh, my God. I hope so.
Loyal
lieutenant to our good Lord Nagash.
You could go get the Ark, the Hellsnip, all the old characters might come back.
Oh, bringing back
all the re-releases because they're bound to have the molds, so all that kind of stuff. People will buy them en masse.
What happens if they decide to do a divergence and alternate timeline, a Marvel universe?
No, I think campaign books with a couple of Army of Infamies in.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that's what we would love to see coming next.
I think from what they've done in the past, it's probably the most likely way they'll go, but that's not guaranteed because it's GW.
He's going to hate me here. I want to slow down. I can't get all the stuff painted.
I mean, that's not untrue either, to be fair. But now that everything's out, I think we will
see a slowdown.
I think we will see a slowdown, because we know there's got to be another Cathay book on the horizon. Like, not when I say the horizon, I mean
by the end of the year was their
by the
words.
end of the year probably was there end of the year. So that's what I mean when we know. When I say we know because they've said that it's coming. To more round out the army.
And let's be honest, SDS have got Heresy dropping in 25 days.
Which is probably one of the reasons they've. I don't say rushed it because that makes it sound like I think they've rushed it and made errors. What I mean is they've pushed it out.
So if you assume
a while is done, tick, put a pin in it for a little bit because we're now moving on to be very heresy focused.
Well, 6 months ago they would have had to go. Before that, we need to focus on Heresy 3rd edition.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They've got it to a point where they go, right now everything is out, everything's released. The match play guide's out. The last FAQ is out for 6 months. Stop. Done. Old World on its shelf for a little bit. Heresy time.
Yeah. Here's one more book before the end of the year.
Yeah. Cool. So, do we want to finish off by just sort of talking about what we're going to be moving on with a little bit?
Go on, you can say it.
So we are moving. We're gonna try to sort of record and share what we're doing with a Forgotten North Tale of 4 Gamers event.
Only possible because you've got a 4th gamer.
Only possible because it's now 4.
That's the only reason you're here, Sid.
It's the only reason we now keep them around.
There you go, equality and diversity higher.
Yeah.
So we've agreed to build 2,000 point lists. We will, maybe when we go through this in more detail, we'll share our list and see like why we built our lists, etc. Which I think will be cool, and talk about army list creation and why it's there. But essentially, we're going to build and paint new armies across the next X number of months from scratch, and then have some games with them for the channel, which I think will be really hopefully cool. We'll share how we're getting on with building, painting, and stuff like that across the next X number of recordings.
It's not gonna be hard and fast. We're not gonna set ourselves. You have to have 500 points done, because some of us are slow painters.
And just like Scott, are you painting this army or Fee?
It's going to be a joint effort, Andrew.
Tale of 5 gamers.
Yeah.
Tale of 4.5 gamers.
I mean, to be fair to Fee, she's like an official member. She paints a lot of the terrain for us anyway. She's kind of the 5th member.
Technically, it is still only 4 gamers, because although she will be a...
4 gamers, 5 painters.
Yes, exactly. Tale of 5 painters.
So shall we go around one at a time and introduce the armies we're going to do?
I think
do it in reverse order.
Reverse order, so that's me to start. So I will be making a Beastman army, and more importantly, Minotaurs.
I thought you'd bought your hat for the video.
Oh, I'll wear it for a little bit on our next recording, because in this heat, there's a good chance I'll get heat stroke and pass out while we record. But I am going full beef, mad cow, all the way. If in doubt, cow it out.
Like mad cow disease.
Mad cow.
I'm
going to push some beef across the board, and I'm going to moo at people.
Yeah, as someone who's recently done a Minotaur army, they are good fun.
That's what I want them for.
They are small.
I want them. I need a smallish army because I'm not a great all painter, but I've got a really good theme in my mind. So if it works, it'll be really cool. I'll be very pleased with it. I just think it'll be really fun, and for something a bit of a project like this, that's what I wanted. Something that's fun. Like, it's not designed to be the most competitive list, although I think in the right matchup it can be brutal. It's designed to be fun and very different from my Tomb Kings or Vampires. So yeah, that's me, and that's my idea. Andy?
I think there's a slight clue.
Is it dead related by any chance?
It was decided before we found out the FAQ changes.
Yeah, it was.
Before they got a little bit better. But we are going to VC with a Moussalon theme.
Nice.
Nice.
That's a lie. He saw the FAQ and was like, "Wow, I love regen now." Undead.
I thought he'd started a Brett army and then just changed the colour scheme.
It's a great thing, Musalon.
He just snapped off the riders and started sticking skeletons onto his horses.
Snapped off the heads and put skulls on.
I got 3D printed. It's fine.
Like, I think that'll look cool, and I think Musalon. Like, I know you had a Musalon themey army / Blood Knights ages ago, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
So that should be really cool. I think, to be fair, like, it's Musalon. It's for like us nerds. It's got a special place in lore to a point, doesn't it?
One of my first ever armies was an army like that.
Yeah.
And everyone loves seeing dead Bretts, so it's fine.
That's true. That's true.
No, we like them when they stay dead.
We like them when they stay dead.
Not double regen dead.
Double regen dead. Stan, then what will you be doing for the Tale of Four gamers?
Amazingly, I'm going Warriors of Chaos, but no dragons.
No dragon warriors.
Just
Is that even Warriors list? Is that
I'm actually going to have warriors in my warriors list.
Whoa! What is this nonsense?
Yes.
Yep, I'm going to have a block of Chaos Warriors.
He saw the FAQs, saw match play, and was like, "Oh my god, I can actually build Chaos of Warriors, and this might actually be okay."
And I'm going to go for the Demon Prince as well.
I was just talking to someone else about this the other day. Actually, I think the Demon Prince in a world where we don't have lots of dragons is possibly.
It's the 360 charge from a Demon Prince that makes him really tasty.
And because of his inbuilt like ward, etc., he can still take.
And he's double regen.
But he can still take the increased points value Ogre Blade.
Yep.
Yeah.
He does need help. Needs help.
Oh, sorry, cough there, Stan. Filth.
Yeah, and I might chuck 2 spawns in as well.
Just for a laugh.
It's like, still, if you still got the Warrior Card Demon Prince, it's still better than the Demon Prince.
That is hilarious. Yeah,
that always been better.
That was the story of 8th edition. That was hilarious.
I think it's still.
I've got to have some random movers in to keep my Night Goblins happy.
That's true. And the spawn are lovely models as well, which is the point of this. Like what we're doing here, isn't it? It's building an army that's just fun. Are you
doing a standard Chaos army, or is it one of the journal ones?
It's Grand Army.
And are you going to be using GW range?
Yeah, it's all GW range. Just so I can take it to Warhammer World.
My mind is also all GW as well, so I can take it to Warhammer World, put my hat on, and be with people in Warhammer
Part
World.
of my army is GW, but part won't be.
Yeah. And what about you,
And
Sim?
then I'm going to jump out there and go, Sib is going for Orcs and Goblins.
Yeah, given away by that luscious Orc and Goblin themed.
He wants that big poison block.
I hit paint and green. So, no, my background also gives it away. I've completed the Games Workshop skill test in that I have made a Sentinel.
And how long did that take you, Sim?
4 hours. I built off in 2 hours.
How much glue went on you and how much went on the model?
I could clear my fingers, yeah. It's a horrendous piece of kit. But this army will all be... Actually, no, it won't. I'm lying. Most of this army will be GW based, so I can play it at GW. However, as Mao Ying or whatever she's called doesn't exist, I have had to get a 3D printed one done.
Yeah, she's got the next range, isn't she?
Yeah.
We've seen the model, haven't we? And it's actually a really nice model.
But mine is
going to be low model.
Yeah, mine's going to be low pan.
Low pan.
Oh, you got to love
China.
Love that film.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
You could have one of those big floating heads there.
Yeah. The whole thing.
Yeah.
So
his recommendation: if you want a Sentinel, buy it built on eBay.
Yeah. Just save yourself.
I'm definitely looking forward to getting into them. I've been quite slow starting off because I've got the beast member still on the bench, and I've had a bad week with family health and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit behind getting off the marks.
Mine's not even remotely built yet. Mine's
You're also an absolute monster. So you'll have built, painted, and played this army and started your next one before any of us have even finished building the rest of our armies.
I promised myself that I'm actually going to slow this one down.
It's only going to take you a fortnight to build and paint.
Your flow's still quicker than our quick.
It is. It really is. So the rest of us are doing one army, and by the time we finish these reports and recording, Stib will be on his third army.
Well,
We also had 4,000 points done.
To be semi-retired.
I know I've got I've got to go back and redo my Wolves of the Sea because they're now kind of obsolete now that they've changed the rule on skin wolves. I still had loads of Empire to still paint. I've got all my Outriders and stuff to do, which need done now that Nuln is back on the table, boys. And I was going to turn my Minotaur army into a full Beastman army.
You said you wanted to expand it, didn't you? To give you choices.
I started that with some Pumbas and some Chariots and that, so that's kind of halfway through transition. But I am going to focus on the cafe and getting them ship shape and ready to visit the Empire.
Because I think the only thing that will sort of impact me getting on with the Minos is that I need to. We've got the Home Nations event at the end of this month, which I need to get reps in for on the list, which is painted and I think is all fully based. And then I might have to pause this while I get whatever confirmed army list I take for Worlds to get fully painted and built. But otherwise,
it just gives Fee time to build it for you. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, she's got a finger up.
You don't
when you watch this, which case, you take your time, love, and thank you very much.
We haven't put a time frame on it. It's an open.
Oh yeah. It's more so we can share some hobbying and what we're doing and give us a bit of a motivation to push on with it, isn't it?
I've got a soft time frame of end of August.
Yeah, because you're aiming to take that list to the Stockport event, aren't you?
Yeah, Toy Soldier Resurrection.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what we're promised is more content, more podcasts, and this is a good reason to get on every couple of weeks or every week and show you how
we start getting more battle reports up as well.
Yeah.
We're going to try and get 2 done on Sunday to give us a couple of weeks worth of content out there again.
We are. Unless the first one goes really bad, in which case I'll just leave.
I'm on your phone call away, Andy.
You're going to at your house.
Yeah, I'll still just leave.
And if it's okay with the teams and everyone at Home Nations, I might put up a few shorts.
That'd
just showing that.
And that'd be lovely, to be honest. I think the Home Nations event, which is the end of July, first one in Old World, will be good fun. Will be good fun. Hosted by
I think I'm TOing it on the Saturday, and then Saber's TOing it on the Sunday, I believe.
Yes. I just need to remember what weekend it was.
It's
27th for you.
It's all in place. It's more just that there's a neutral person who's not involved in any of the teams to make any calls that may be needed for rules. Sort of to be
translate that to your Sib. Make every call against Scott.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that was just a given. To be honest, after you bullied us about poison, a firing point limit, mass shooting, this has been a bad patch for me. To be fair.
You're a trooper. You're not complaining about it.
I don't know how I'm faced it with such a positive, can-do outlook.
You have to learn to play Warhammer properly like the rest of us.
I don't understand. What is this leadership nonsense you guys keep talking about?
God, yeah, your Minotaurs will have to learn leadership.
No, I know people are going to take a test for this. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Why do you foul stupidity with something?
They're like, panic test. I'm like, a what test?
Just microwave your dice for the thingy test and go frenzied.
Special, frenzied took a nerf anyway. Segue back into rules discussions and FAQs, but hopefully, I think it's a really exciting time for Warhammer. It's an exciting time for Forgotten North. In fact, we're trying to get more active with the content, and we're going to do our Tale of Four Gamers, and hopefully just get more content out for you guys to watch and listen to. But thank you to the listeners who have put up with us and listened to us ramble on about Warhammer for the last hour and a half. But I think with that, we draw to a close and to say thank you very much for engaging with us. in our link below. Please feel free to visit GameMat.eu if you want Game Mat, and Gathering Point Games, who are have joined with us to offer prize support for our event in November, and we are very appreciative of both of those people. And in the meantime, we'll say good night and thank you all very much.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
See you next time.